You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they've spent. Take another look and take some time for him. Don't cut trees for paper, 'cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Well, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, it's time for hemp.
Whoa, you caught me in the middle of a hit. Whoa, oh my goodness gracious, that was a good hit. And I want to remind you to hit the subscribe button if you haven't below, and hit the like button. We'd appreciate that. That adds to the algorithms, which helps us be found in other people's feeds. And please share us with your friends. I am your host, Casper Leitch, and you are watching Time for Hemp. This is a program about the importance of educating people about this fantastic plant, and we are working diligently to try to end prohibition on hemp all around the world. And with that said, we have an international program today. We have people on from Canada and, of course, from the great United States. And speaking, before I go any farther into the program, don't forget, anytime you hear the word joint on the big broadcast, we ask that you hit your pipes, your vaporizers, your bongs, and your joints, and take time for hemp. With that said, I'm going to bring on one of my joint hosts here in the United States, Mr. Al Byrne. He's one of the founders of Patients Out of Time. He has been diligently dedicating his life to ending cannabis prohibition so that people who need medical cannabis can have it without having to become a criminal. Isn't that right, Al?
Well, yeah, exactly. We don't need criminal anything. And in fact, all of the major federal U.S. government studies that have ever been conducted on that subject have said just what we said, that the use of cannabis by individuals should never have been criminalized. Schaefer Commission, on and on. Certainly the two IOM reports, Institute of Medicine reports, thought that the cannabis is a medicine. It shouldn't be criminalized. And while I'm on that subject, because it's time for hemp, well, let's remind everybody that cannabis is the plant that hemp is also called. It can be called by different names, but it's cannabis is the basic plant. And I repeat again, it's a plant. So as you go through your life and you hear people talking about marijuana and the drug cannabis or something, they're wrong. You know, marijuana is a slang term. It was used as a derogatory term in times past, mainly aimed at Mexicans and Mexican Americans in the United States South, and black people, of course. And then cannabis is a real term, and it's a plant. It's a very valuable plant. In fact, it is an herb. In 2014, the American Herbal Association declared cannabis was an herb. So I wrote all this in my book there. You see, some of you see it, For Country and Cannabis. It's out. It's everywhere. Apple Books, Amazon. It's an ebook. It's a real book. It's 360 pages long. I have it full of information, education, some of which I just gave you. And I wrote it for that reason. And it's also a history book. It will tell you how and who made medical cannabis a subject matter for discussion and actually a subject of success, not only here in the United States, but as where our guest today is in Canada and essentially all over the European continent, although we still have some problems in Asia. That's not universally true, but they still haven't grabbed it. Anyway, that's who I am. I'm an author. I've been doing this work with medical cannabis and legalization of cannabis for years, decades. And with that, I'm going to introduce my other co-host besides Casper here, another Al Graham up in Ontario. So you American guys have to go with him a little bit. He doesn't really speak English like we do. But hey, Al, how you doing?
What's that all about? Or is that all boot?
I like that about, so I can't even do it, but I really like that OUT stuff you guys do.
Yeah. Hey, we're neighbors. We just have to figure out how to spell it. That's all. All right. A nice book. I didn't know Casper had a copy of it sitting right there. All right. I'll have to get myself one.
And even though I went to public schools in Indiana, I can read most of it. There's a lot of big words in it, so I have to get somebody to help me with the big words. But still.
I'm sorry about that. But those are my dogs on the cover, golden retrievers. So yes. I'm a dog lover, and you'll find a lot of dog stories in the book, including how I feed cannabis to my dogs every evening.
Okay.
And the dog sitting in the middle with the white hair is a Sheltie. Isn't that?
Yeah, that's true. We borrowed him for the picture.
All right. Other than that, paceradio.net is where you're going to find psychedelics and cannabis educational information, news, stories, and interviews.
And don't we have a guest from Canada?
We sure do.
Today?
We sure do. We got a guest from Canada. And actually, she's from my neck of the woods. She's from right here in Ontario. And we do run into each other occasionally at different events. So our guest today, as I mentioned, she's a cannabis consumer and advocate for 46 years. So she's been consuming it for quite a while. So I look forward to finding out how she got started. She has worked in the cannabis industry for the last 8 years as a founder and educator, which is a career that has seen her recognized in helping patients and especially the seniors. She says to have been a huge part of legalization in Canada has been an experience that will never be able to put into words, but it's been the highlight of my career. Today, we're going to see if we can get her to put it into words, see what happens. Without further delay, I'm happy to welcome and say welcome to Michele Parrotta, a.k.a. Mimi Cannabis, for taking time for Hemp today.
Hello,
how you doing, Mimi?
guys? Thanks
Welcome
for
to the
having
big broadcast.
me.
Yeah, we helped this.
It makes me so happy to see
Well,
two
we hope
Americans.
we hope this would be another highlight to your career here.
But it's so nice. Thank you for having me. And it's so nice with what's going on in the world right now to have two Americans and two Canadians sitting here talking about one common goal. And that makes me really happy. So thank you very much for including me today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, I have to ask a Florida question. Okay, I'm looking at your last name, Parrotta, and I understand Parrotta, but I'm a parrot head. You know what that means?
Yeah, you like Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes, we're going to have a good time today.
But it's funny. Parrotta, and that's what I'll say to people. It's parrot basically with an A. But yeah, my husband is Italian. So yes, I'm actually of Polish descent, whereas my husband is Italian. So yes, Parrotta. It's got a vowel on the end.
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah.
to stereotype because it's not polite to stereotype, but I do understand with your husband being Italian, I better not upset you, otherwise I'll find people at my door. So
He's one of the gentle and kind ones.
good.
Good. All right. As I said, when I introduced you, welcome to the show, Mimi. To get things started, you said you started 46 years ago, cannabis.
Oh, yeah.
How'd that all get started?
A metal pipe down by the creek in Kingston, Ontario. That's when I tell my story, I always include the metal pipe because nobody uses them anymore. It was really funny. I remember the first time that I tried it, I was like 15 years old. And I thought to myself, because I never really liked, how when you're young and you would get into the alcohol and you would get sick or whatever. It was just never for me. Alcohol was just never for me. And I remember the first time trying cannabis and thinking, I like this, I like this. And at the time you don't realize you're medicating, but as you go through life with cannabis, you realize how it takes you from one place to another and heals you. And like I said, I cannabis oil and smoking cannabis, two of my favorite things in the whole wide world, for sure.
So when you're a kid, you're back in your teenage years. I have a daughter. Now she's way grown up, but
right.
There's a lot of angst as a teenage girl. Self-esteem problems. You got all kinds of, am I really a woman? What the hell's going on anyway?
Right.
Did you found cannabis help you with that? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Cannabis, it just always made me feel like the thing that was missing, socially, everything, and at that time, when you're that young, you don't realize, and then as you get older, I started dealing with anxiety and realizing that cannabis was helping my anxiety. And I've just, used it as a tool for anxiety for so long. And for now that I'm older, over 60, definitely aches and pains, right? I've never been one for pharmaceuticals, not too many. Of course, at our age, we have to sometimes take them. But cannabis has always been the thing. I believe in homeostasis, and I think that's the biggest thing, is that I feel like my body is balanced properly with cannabis. If that sounds, I truly do believe in homeostasis, and I believe that in the, the endocannabinoid system that we need to have, use these receptors that we have, right? Sure. And but honestly, I couldn't function without it now. Like, there's no way. And it's not in a bad way, because I probably use 70% oil, 30% flour. So I take oil. And I like 1-to-1 oils. I like even balanced amounts of CBD and THC. That's my right. And honestly, it helps me with my aches and pains. I have a lot of spasms. It helps me with anxiety. It helps me with so much. But I love balanced products. I love balanced flour. It's hard to find, especially in our recreational market, because it doesn't sell well. It's hard, when I get my hands on it, I grab it because it's really sometimes hard to find.
Mimi, let me interrupt for the audience. We know what we're talking about. They might not. when Mimi's talking about having a balance in her cannabis dose, what she's really talking about is matching up THC, the compound, with CBD, the compound. Now, the reason this is important is because CBD mitigates the psychotropic activity of the THC.
Absolutely.
What that means in plain language is it keeps you from getting stoned too much, but you get all of the medical attributes of the whole plant, which we as professionals in this communication thing here all agree we need, and that's what Mimi uses, the whole plant. But again, that balance is there so that she gets the therapeutic value and she gets some psychotropic value. The stuff goes to your brain, but it goes in such a way that it's modified, that one compound modifies the other. So it's very manageable and very, very easy to titrate. Now, which I want to get to you.
Exactly. Titration.
How do you do it? How do you titrate? How do you smoke this stuff? Do you eat it? What's going on? And how do you titrate?
I take my oil every single morning when I get up.
So you wake and bake.
No, I physically take it like as if it were medicine.
There's no bacon. There's no bacon involved.
No bacon. No bacon until later in the day.
Okay.
How do you take it? You put it under your tongue or
under my tongue. Maybe even if I'm having breakfast that morning, I can stick it on something, whatever.
Right.
Doesn't it taste like hell? Doesn't it taste terrible?
I'm used to it. I like the taste of it, but yes, there are people that don't like the taste of it, and that's why they take edibles, because I honestly don't mind the taste of it. And I mean, there's some people who take the oil and it doesn't agree with their stomach. I mean, let's face it, you're eating oil, things can happen, right?
So your titration is by experience.
Yeah, I take 2 full mils of 15 balanced oil every day. 2 full mils, one in the morning and one probably around 3 o'clock.
So that's 15 milligrams of each? Is that what you're saying? 15?
Per mil.
Well, you're a real stoner. Jeepers.
Well,
and then you smoke it too?
Yeah, usually once my day is done, that's when I get into smoking. I do vape. I do have a vape that I use, but actual flower, I try to keep that for the evenings.
Do you sleep well?
I sleep very well. Sleep extremely well. And I also am very much into topicals. I don't go to bed at night without putting some sort of a ointment or topical on the back of my neck. I don't, topicals are one of the most underrated thing that we have,
Yeah, I find it funny we can only buy them in recreational stores.
You
praying that's going to change.
Yeah. And now,
you put the stuff on your neck for pain. Is that right?
Sometimes I just put it just to relax me, just kind of lulls me off to sleep. But I love topicals. And I'm very much all about terpenes, certain terpenes. So my company has its own terpene face serum, so made with terpenes. So that doesn't even have cannabis in it, but it has beta-carotene in it, right? Which is a cannabinoid, right? So it's incredible. I'm very much have taken the time to learn why it helps me so much. Not just, it helps me great, but I've really taken the time, and it is terpene profiles. It's all of those things. I know right away. I can open up a bag of cannabis and smell it and know right away that it's not for me.
Well, I do have a question. Here. First of all, I would imagine that putting it on your neck is kind of like perfume, like Calvin Klein's essence of THC.
Yes.
But, I was curious. Vaporizing. I've heard a lot of things about vaping. I know that a lot of people do it, but I can certainly tell you I've heard a lot of negative things about vaping, that it might not be healthy. When I vape, I can't, because it has to get to such a high temperature that it hurts my throat.
Right.
So do you find that there is any health drawbacks to utilizing a vape?
I don't think it's good for us. I mean, I agree with you 100%. But what I do find vaping good for, because I do deal with spasms for onset. You know, if I'm having an onset pain or onset spasm, I find vaping very quick and very helps relieve it fast. Of course, flowers even better, but in the daytime, if I need some type of a quick, you know, I'm having a bit of a spasm in my back, and I get a lot of Charlie horse pain and things like that. So that's why I find for onset, something that happens immediately, this is the ticket.
Now, when people talk about the negative effects of vaping, I look at it as they're really talking about, you know, maybe these carts and all that. I can't see, at least I'm not aware of anywhere. I've seen a study showing that the vaping of whole plant cannabis through a vaporizer is beneficial. There's nothing in it.
Well, it's funny that you should say that. One of the other products that is available through my company is the nose adapter for a vape cartridge. So there are people doing it.
Yeah,
wait.
The nose
adapter? You mean like when you're in the nursing home and they got the little...
Yes. For your vaporizer. And because some people, it does affect their lungs so badly. If you do it through your nose, the terpenes go right to your brain, you know, like, I mean, it's incredible. For dental work, if you're getting dental work done, this is another great device. But yeah, it's not good for our lungs. Vaping is not good for our lungs. And I think that we're going to find that there's going to be some regulations. I believe they are going to be taking the flavoring out in Canada like they have in many states in the United States. So I'm not sure.
They can't remove, they're not talking about removing natural flavors.
No. They're talking about like the stuff that makes it attractive, like, you know, making it taste like cotton candy or cherry or that type of stuff, right?
I've seen on some vape cartridges, it'll say added flavor agents. That's all it says, added flavor agents.
Right.
What is it? Yeah. And what are we inhaling, more importantly, right? Yeah.
So I do, you know, it's funny because my husband yells at me a lot for vaping. Like, he's like, you cough, your cough, I hate, you know what I mean? So yes, people who don't vape notice it too. Will notice it in your cough. So yeah, but I'm bad. I do it. But yeah.
Well, you know, I live in a situation where I don't smoke in my house.
Yeah.
I have others that come in here all the time and they don't want the smell and all that. And so I use the vape while I'm inside.
Exactly. That's the same with
me. You don't
me.
smoke cannabis in your house?
No, I don't.
Oh my God, you must be outside like 18 hours a day.
I do it in the office. I do it in my office because I say I have a cannabis related business, so I'm allowed in my office.
Yeah, I do dabs, but like I don't smoke a joint. Yeah. I'll do dabs in the house, but not joints.
All right, now Michelle, well look, you're like the rest of us. You're like 100 years old now. Didn't you start this journey like when you were in your last half century?
Oh my God. It's so funny. You know, I was in hospitality my whole life, hotel sales. And as soon as all of the talk of legalization in Canada started, I thought to myself, am I still young enough to get involved? Because at that point I'm like pushing 50, right? So, And I basically gave up the same job for how many years? I don't know, 15 years, and hopped on and joined a medical cannabis company. And basically the rest is history. And that was like, I was 49. So at least, yeah. And then
so that means that when you were in the hospitality industry, that was when they were first building hotels back in the 1800s, probably, right?
Exactly.
So what made you decide to stand up and go, well, put a bullseye on me and make me a hemp activist? I'm going to talk publicly about this.
Well, do you want to know something? I think people close to me always knew. Before, legalization, there was we're like we had this conversation before the show. Even now, we're going into, what are we now, Al, year 7 of legalization?
Yeah.
And we're still dealing with stigma. And we're federally legal. Like, it's not like it's province here, place there. Our whole country is legal. So it's, but yeah, there's still, my nickname is always, because my name is Michele, people called me Mimi Cannabis. So when I first started my business, that's what I called it, because that's what, was recognized. But then as I started to grow and not just supply cannabis stores or head shops, so to speak, I made the change, and now I call myself MC Lifestyle Wholesale. So the Mimi Cannabis is still there, the MC, but I tried to bring it more as a lifestyle as opposed to a bad thing. And, it's really helped my business. It's the best thing I could have done, because now I'm in stores that aren't like cannabis related. So I've opened up the market so that everything that I sell in my company could be sold anywhere.
So
there's no regulation.
Do you have children?
I have one. Yes, I have a 24-year-old.
My question is, what did you tell Mimi about smoking pot?
You know what? It's a great question, because we didn't make a big deal about it. And I think that's what, if you make a big deal about things when kids are young, they want to do it, right? What am I missing? What am I missing? Mm-hmm. My daughter was raised to believe it was medicine.
Okay.
And yes, does she like to use cannabis? The odd time, but it's not her everyday thing. But she also understands that the oil helps me a lot, and she's understood that from a pretty young age. So it was always sort of directed as medicine in my house.
How'd your husband handle all this? Is he into this, or is he neutral?
Oh yeah, my husband definitely likes cannabis and definitely uses oil as well. Oh yeah. There's it's funny, when legalization started here in Canada, there's so many people came out of the closet, it was like, you use I didn't know. I didn't know. Right. So, but now that it's accepted for the most part, I think that the number one people walking in the stores, though, and spending the most money are the people our age. We know the benefit of it even more than the younger people. So, I think some of the younger people are still hung up on that drinking thing and stuff, right? Whereas, honestly, we are the number one demographic walking in the stores here in Canada. Absolutely.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because Casper and Al and I, when we went back to restart Time for Hemp, discussed among ourselves that one of the reasons we're doing this is to bring education to the younger generation. It's legal, so we don't discuss it anymore. But with our age group, we've lived it. So it's interesting you bring that up, and it's interesting that's what you see in Canada. Yeah.
And it's interesting what you just said about education and how it's gone by the wayside since legalization. And that's too bad, you know, and I had the same conversation recently with someone else. Because when I first started my business was meant to, like you said, educate seniors, you know, older people, more mature cannabis use, trying to fight that good stigma and stuff. And actually, I went on this whole theme that green is the new gray. And that's what I had. My t-shirt said green is the new gray. It was a whole theme, a whole vibe. But you know what? I was too soon. I was too early, because it's changed. Now everybody wants them again, right? Because they have an older person in their family, or, you know, my skunkle, or, you know, that uses weed, that I'd like to get a green is the new gray t-shirt for, right? So
now, do you find when you first started this and you started approaching like seniors when it comes to cannabis, was there some resistance? Because people used to always look at, oh, the old people, they don't like cannabis. And there was sort of that mentality of years ago that went by that thought that
I was the keynote speaker at the Dundas Seniors Fair. And it was standing room only, you guys, like standing room only. The curiosity was there.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So, yeah. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that seniors want to be a little more discreet about it. But yeah, now it seems to be, like I said, we know what the demographics are in these stores, and it's mature. It's not, you know.
And down here in Florida, we had an advocate. He's gone now, but he started up several years ago what he called the Silver Tour, meeting the color of our hair.
Right.
And it was quite effective. When cannabis was voted on for medical use in Florida a few years back, that older demographic, those older, say 70 years old, went almost 90% to have medical cannabis part of Florida's law. And that word had come from guys like him with the Silver Tour and word of mouth. Exactly. You know, one guy goes to a Silver Tour meeting and he goes to play golf with three other guys the next 3 days, and he's talking the talk. And now, you know, so that kind of educational activity still needs to go on. And that's, again, why Time for Hemp is here. We're trying to do that, and you're helping. And I know we're trying to help you to take your message and broaden it in some ways.
Well, do you want to know something? It's it makes me sad to see that the states can't get it done federally. It would be so nice, you know. I think it would be great for both countries. I think it would be great for trade. I think it would be great for so many things. But with Florida, I mean, it's just still medical. You can't get recreational there. And you're in Indiana, Casper?
I am. And I tell people that when it's 3:00 in New York, it's noon in California, and it's 1955 in Indiana. So, yeah.
Oh, dear. So you can't even get medical? You can't even get, no. Wow.
No. The only thing we can do is we can get vapes, but they still arrest people for having recreation, medical, and it's a lot of drain on the economy, because not only are they enforcing it in that aspect, but then there's a lot of people who take their dollars to Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, and Illinois. Jeepers, all the states around us, even Kentucky, I think, and we go and buy our medications there. So you would think that they would at least come up to 1968 sometime.
Right.
Yeah, because even you taking it across your state border is a charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The state
Yeah,
line,
it is.
you're not even supposed to, eh?
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
Mimi, dealing with the senior end of things, do you find that a lot of them are surprised that you don't need to smoke cannabis in order
I
to
think
meditate?
that, and I think the other big thing is that, because let's face it, arthritis is the biggest thing we deal with as far, like when we're in medical cannabis and we're talking to seniors, it's arthritis. And what is arthritis root of is inflammation, right? We already know that THC and CBD are two of the most powerful anti-inflammatories, plant-based, that we have access to, because you start taking what the problem is with the seniors right now is they can't take the prescription anti-inflammatories. It kills their stomach. They can't handle it. So, I think that a lot of them are very surprised at the anti-inflammatory properties that are in our beautiful plant, because honestly, it's people can't believe that how well it helps.
How do you get your message out? Do you go door to door? Do you go in the nursing homes and say, "Here, fire up," or what?
Well, like I said, I do speak at seniors fairs. I do like, if somebody wants me to come and speak, I'll come and speak, no problem. But I basically only speak about mature cannabis use. And like, sometimes I'll wake up in the morning because people know that I'm that person, right? I mean, some people are still even at that point where they're afraid to even go into the legal stores, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
or what they'll email me, Mimi, what should I expect? I think the other problem, that the biggest serious problem that Canada did, bad, shame on Canada for when they legalized, was not letting people talk about medical, meaning like, if someone comes into a recreational cannabis store and starts asking medical questions, the bud tender literally has to cut them off and say, I can't, I can't get in trouble for that, right? We need a two-door system. Even if it's just, if the stores can only afford to have a nurse practitioner in 1 day a week, okay, that person comes in and starts asking those questions and going there. That's when you would say to them, June, our nurse is going to be in next week. We can book you in with her, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is where Canada lost it. This is where they fucked up. Excuse my language, but this is where they screwed up.
I've said the same thing. Like you go to Rexall, you go to Guardian Drugs or whatever. You go into a store, you pass by all kinds of thousands of products in order to get to the dispensary at the back. There's no reason why they can't have a medical dispensary or somebody along that line within a recreational store, so the patients can actually have access and talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about, because they've talked about eliminating the stores or wanting to, would the stores help deal with the medical access for patients? Could the stores replace the medical program? But you're not going to send a 5-year-old.
Well, wait a minute. What is there a law against hiring an RN?
Well, basically what they've done, Al, is they've separated the two entities. There's medical cannabis and recreational cannabis. If you want medical cannabis, you go see a nurse practitioner or a doctor, and, you get set up with an LP, and it's got to come to you by mail.
By mail?
By mail. You can't just walk into a store and buy medical cannabis.
Yeah, like now some stores you'll find, like most of the stores now carry 1-to-1 oil. Most of the stores now carry sometimes a 1-to-1 flower or a CBD flower, right? But the problem is that how can someone who uses, make this make sense? Someone who uses it recreationally can just walk in and buy it willy-nilly. But someone who needs it medically has to wait for it. Come on.
That's crazy.
What's
What's the Canadian position on animals? I mean, if I go to a bud tender and say, I want the best stuff for my dog who's got arthritis problems.
Do you want to know what I say? I didn't hear it. There you go. There it is.
Yeah.
You know, because honestly, you know, this is where New York State did it better than us. They opened up, they were allowed after the Farm Bill to open up CBD shops. So all of these stores opened up, all these people opened up CBD shops in New York State. They had, you know, time to establish their clientele. And then after, they got to apply for their THC licenses. And theoretically, if they had done it that way here, I don't think we'd be in the situation that we're in right now with the lack of education. But yeah, I mean, we're hearing rumblings that you will be able to get a CBD license within a year and open up just a CBD store where you can sell the pet stuff and you can sell just CBD stuff, no THC whatsoever. Am I waiting for that? Yes, because honestly, I think that Canada needs it badly.
I think when it comes to the regulations, I'm not quite sure, but I believe the veterinarian end of things is still in the works. It sounds like the cannabis health products that they're doing right now, that they're asking for public input on.
They are, and you can apply, you can get on a list, and it does include pet stuff. But theoretically, like I said, like in the recreational stores, it's very strict, and like the government will send in people pretending to ask medical questions.
Oh, sure, they always do
that to catch them, right?
Yeah.
All right, now I've had this question thrown at me, but I think you're better suited to answer it. I've had people say, "So, do you think there should be an age limit on utilizing cannabis? Do you think children should be allowed to use it, like even for medicine?" And so I'll let you address that to the people who might have those questions, because you seem better in a situation to give them a more profound answer.
Well, I will say that my company has helped actually 2 children get access. So, and it's in regards to seizures and epilepsy and that type of situation. So do I agree? Absolutely. I agree that everybody should have access to this medicine, whether it's safer than pharmaceuticals. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it is. And I know that that's how this panel probably feels too. So yeah, I mean, I've heard of so many stories in the States of people having to, go move to another state that's legal for their child to get access to it. And that makes me sad, because
there are internal refugees in our country, not in yours, but in ours. But let me tell you what the Massachusetts law on cannabis basically is. I can say it in a sentence. It says that cannabis can be used by a patient in conversation with their attending physician, and based on the attending physician's, this is cool, education, experience, and judgment. This is what medical professionals do for everything. So what Massachusetts did, age is not mentioned. Judgment is, experience is, and the agreement of a patient with their doctor, and I would assume about their child. So I think that's the answer that I give, Casper, to people, that it's all about the patient, the needs, and the judgment of the attending physician. And again, I've said this, and I'll say it again here because I think it's really important. When we're talking about these laws in the United States, in a state, federally, Canada, wherever the hell we're talking, these laws are made by lawyers, cops, right? And all we're talking about here right now is therapeutic use, medicine. Well, what the hell cops and lawyers got in this conversation to begin with? Where the hell do they come from? Why are they here? So this whole thing is, to my mind, absurd. It's been absurd for 40 years for me. It remains absurd, probably tomorrow too. I just picked that out. When you're thinking in Canada or the United States about all this law about cannabis, think who made them: cops, lawyers, not doctors and nurses. That's right. I have a slogan. When you're trying to figure out if something is real or unreal, consider the source. Where does that shit come from? And right now, we are dealing with shit in cannabis that comes from cops and lawyers. In the United States, by the way, if you practice medicine without a license, you go to jail. Yeah. They practice medicine every day. They don't go to jail. They just make a new law up, and it's based on nothing but myth and fantasy. And obviously, I'm getting worried. You're about the third or fourth Canadian that has come on here in the last couple of months and said they won't even let us talk about this shit. Yeah. Boy, I'm an American. That doesn't ring good for me. You don't tell me what to say.
It's that big medical, and they don't want that being discussed in the stores. Like even Health Canada that authorizes our medical use doesn't recognize it as a medical item.
It's too bad. I mean,
maybe you guys can become a state. I don't know. What do you think?
No thanks.
Mimi, you mentioned that you've had to deal with a couple of children. I know that I myself have had to deal with children in the past, trying to get them licensed. Has it gotten any easier over the years to find a physician that's willing to sign for?
I actually know a nurse practitioner that does sign for children. So, but there has to be so much. There's a lot of paperwork involved, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when the problem with Canada is they want them to try everything else first. So they got to put these kids through hell first on other shit, right? And that doesn't work. And then, that's the problem with medical cannabis, the rules of getting it in Canada. They want you to exhaust every other pharmaceutical option first. And that's where it's wrong, right?
Yeah, it's upside down. Cannabis should be
the first line of defense.
Exactly.
And it's not.
Exactly. And the other thing that we call it down here is an exit drug.
Yeah.
When you've been loaded up with pharmaceuticals and your life has gone to shit, you try cannabis and all of a sudden the pharmaceuticals go away. You probably stop using nicotine and alcohol. Your life is a lot better. It's an exit drug. But absolutely, Mimi, it should be the first choice, not the last. Absolutely.
Al, unless I'm mistaken, and you can address this, haven't they also utilized smoking cannabis as a way of getting people off of like cigarettes and heroin and a variety of other drugs?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's,
we can, it's definitely like. And I mean, and not everybody agrees with it, but I mean, okay, let's talk about Vancouver, right, Al?
Yeah. There's been reports, we've reported them in our news shows of the benefits of not surveys, but of studies talking about the benefits of people using cannabis as an exit out of stuff as far as like opioids, all the heroin addiction. I know of advocates right here in Canada who are running the cannabis substitution programs, and they're seeing benefits.
Yeah, because there's a very big opioid problem definitely in Vancouver. And I know they've had some great success. I mean, I know Jody works hard out there. There's lots of people working really hard out there. And look at Neil Magnuson, like he just recently passed away. He was one of our biggest advocates, and he would be in a trailer there, getting people to take cannabis instead of, because it's bad. There's some bad spots there, right?
Yeah.
Harm reduction is the biggest thing that we don't talk about, and people say, what do you mean harm reduction? It's harm reduction,
It is. Yeah, exactly. It is.
So, Michelle, now I know you've been active in Women in Cannabis, and you've been active in a variety of. So that tells me that you don't work solo. So you got a team of people that you work with. Tell us more about your work as an activist.
I have one partner. She is a respiratory therapist, and she is the inventor of the Noser. And then
cool.
her and I have been doing the Terpene Rich, which is our face serum for pro-aging. And then my company basically is Mimi's Joint Jewelry, and we sell joint holders. We supply most of the stores with joint holders, fancy little, exactly. That's what we do. And I sell them wholesale, right?
Snakes. It's even got snakes. One in the middle.
That was a pandemic pivot, strangely enough. And now, it's caught on. It's crazy, right? So everybody wants it. So, but I mean, I pretty much sell any type of supplies as far as what you would need for lifestyle. I'm getting into more pro-aging stuff too, using terpenes and cannabis and cosmetics and pro-aging stuff. So that's really my passion, is cosmetics, and skincare is always been a big passion of mine. So that's kind of where I'm heading now, is skincare, right? So
yeah, there's that terpene rich face serum you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So
it's like every moment of your day is spent doing something with cannabis, it seems.
Absolutely, like. Pretty much, whether I'm in a meeting or whether I'm, out in the stores filling up, because what I have to do, the stores that have my merchandise, I go and I fill it up. So I go and I do that and talk to all my customers. I am in legal stores. I am in stores on First Nations stores. I support every aspect of the, it's not our fault that we have three different industries in one. I mean, we have our legal industry, we have our indigenous industry, and then we have our legacy, what we call legacy industry, which is, unregulated, right? Basically. Most of the indigenous now are all self-regulated.
Yeah. I say that Canada has three cannabis regulation industries.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Michelle, now that you should be putting yourself into Shady Pines nursing home instead of doing all that what drives you? I mean, goodness gracious, you've got a business, you go out and help people with their medical needs, and you're busy educating people about, shouldn't you be like getting up and watching Frasier and figure out if Niles is going to say, I love you to Daphne or something?
No. I'm honestly.
What drives you?
What? I'm going to tell you right now, like it was because I always tell the young people in the industry, right? You're going to be sending the limo for me to pick me up, to take me to the parties, right? Just make sure you send the limo for me and I'll be there. But, no, I'm just that type of person. I'm not even, I want to keep working as long as humanly possible, especially.
Well, why the cannabis industry? Why the cannabis industry? Wouldn't you make more money going back into hospitality or running a brothel or something?
Probably, but it's not as rewarding. It's not as rewarding. And I'm going to tell you something, and when I say that, being a part of this legal industry in Canada, putting it into words is hard, because it's like we're trailblazers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's, we're all going to go down in history of these are the people that did it for us, right? And that's really important to me. That's really important that, that we were here, even us people over 60, because, we understand. We are bringing business experience also. There's an awful lot of people in the industry who thought, oh, yay, it's legal and we're just going to open a store and everything's going to be wonderful. Well, you have to know basic business, right? And
retail doesn't work like that. Let me ask you.
But it's like, hey, I'm going to sell cannabis, well, it just,
I did retail. It doesn't
I'm
work
proud.
like that.
I try to help the stores as much as possible. I go in, I'll do pop-ups to try to increase their sales, or my merchandise is in their store. To the stores that maybe can't afford to buy my merchandise, they'll bring me in, and that's fine too, because there are a lot of stores that are suffering as far as the profit margin on cannabis sucks.
I know our local store just changed hands. New company owns it.
Yeah.
Listen, Mimi, in your journey here, we're running out of time, and I just want to find this out. Canada's disturbing to me now. More I talk to Canadians. In your journey here, especially since you've become sort of vocal cannabis, I'm out there. Has the government of Canada given you any trouble personally?
No, my business isn't regulated through anything.
No, I mean you. They badmouth you along the way, or no?
Actually, no, not at all. I think they have so many bigger fish to fry as far as them trying to keep this legal industry afloat. But that's why I thought about opening a store at the beginning of all this. My husband and I were actually quite interested, but I'm so glad that we went this way because, it's not a big, people thought it was going to be a license to print money, and it just isn't, right?
No, the failure rate down here in the United States is like 85%.
Yeah.
The competition is huge. I mean, I live in the woods, but Tallahassee is a big city north of me, an hour or so. And there's got to be 24 hemp stores up there in Tallahassee. Probably could support 3. There used to be 36. Now there's 24. Give it another couple of years. It's a product like any other product. You're showing me your products. These are unique. They're new, they're changing, etc. Pot is a banana. I mean, it's a vegetable, and you can only grow so much of it, and there's only so much of a market. Now we're trying to say, hey, this hemp thing is way underutilized. I get that part of the story, and I want to emphasize that. But as far as we're talking about therapeutic cannabis and selling it in a retail store, and that's your only product, you ain't gonna make it.
No, exactly. You're not with that profit margin. No way. And that's why accessories are a must, because, accessories, your profit margin is so much higher in accessories. And that's why I decided to stay in accessories.
Good move.
Good move.
Good move. I endorse it. I've told people on this show and a lot of other shows, they look at me like I'm nuts. They say, well, CBD or whole cannabis store, I'll make a fortune. I'm sorry to blow your brain here, but you're not going to be successful. Nope. And somebody is. But unfortunately, even down in Florida, we're fighting that mass of somebody comes in and gets a license to open up 20 stores. Well, right away, your competition has just got really skewed and twisted badly. And so the idea is we need to broaden what we can among small business owners, not conglomerates, but America's conglomeration. And so I just see the the cannabis industry just gets swallowed up like it was corn or beets.
Yeah.
Well, and another aspect of this is I've shared this before the show. A friend of mine was going to be going to Illinois to pick up some medical cannabis and recreational use, and wanted to know if I wanted to get something. So I called up to Illinois to the store he was going to shop at and asked them for their prices. And like it was like $200 and $300 for an ounce. I was like, jeepers, I can get better on the black market. I can get a good ounce for $120. And he said, yeah, I know, but we got to pay a license fee. We got overhead to rent. We got employees to hire. We got insurance to cover. And for us to be able to stay in business, that's what we have to charge per ounce. To which I said, well, I guess I'm shopping on the black market. Thank you and goodbye.
Well, and also too, I think Illinois is one of the states that has the THC tax, which is the higher the THC, the higher the tax. So that can make it really, I know Massachusetts is the same. The higher the THC, the higher the tax. So the THC tax makes it pretty, in Canada here, I mean, in the recreational store, you can get a decent ounce for $150 Canadian in the retail stores here. It's not that bad, especially when you're looking at your American dollar compared to ours. But yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of the stuff was based on thinking that these people were going to be able to sell it at $10 a gram. Well, that's just not realistic. It's just not realistic.
I also got a question. You're pretty astute to all the laws and regulations in the different states of America. Did you learn that because you realize that within the next couple of months you'll probably be our next state? Or
no.
How did you learn this?
Just out of general interest, basically for me. Canadians are very astute as far as knowing what's going on below us. And you know what? Especially when it comes to cannabis, because like I said, the opportunity for it to be federally legal and for us to be federally legal and to trade and to do all those wonderful things and make cannabis do what it needs to do. I stay very much on top and celebrate every state when they change their laws. So there you go. I'm not just, I support cannabis. Doesn't matter what country.
Good answer.
All right.
But no, we don't want to be the 51st state.
No, and that's why when it comes to like the global marijuana march, it's happened in Toronto and other cities around the world. There's still lots of places around the world where it's not legalized, and there's still people being put to death, and that's why people still got to keep speaking up.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't.
All right, Michelle, we are down to the end of the hour. Is there anything you want to let the whole world know before we say?
Well, you can find me at MC Lifestyle Wholesale on Instagram. You can find me at www.mimicannabis.com. Please feel free to reach out. I love hearing especially from our American friends, and I want to come back on this show. So, because I don't think we're done talking yet. So, how about that?
Love to have you back. We'd love to have you back. Absolutely. And Al Graham, I know that people will be interested in checking out all your fantastic programming. Why don't you tell them a little bit about the Pace Radio Network, how they can find it, when they do find it, what are they going to see?
All right, you can find the Pace Radio Network, which is people advocating cannabis education at paceradio.net. We have psychedelic as well as cannabis education. You can hear from patients that tell their stories, to business owners, to whatever you want to find in the cannabis end of things. And the same with psychedelics. We talk with patients as well as others that help other patients. So it's all about helping each other.
That's right.
And Al Byrne, I know that you've got this really groovy book that people should find. And why don't you tell them how to find it, a little bit more about it?
Yeah, thanks. And I'm not like Al Graham. This is my, I'm a one pony show here. I don't have another show that I do. I'm just a talking head here. But I did write that book for Country and Cannabis. Been out a little over a year, 360 pages. You can get it at Apple Books or Amazon Books or wherever the hell you buy books. It's a book. It's an ebook. And it has a lot about what we were talking today, subjects of education. Half that book is education. Half that book is history. And I tell it by chapter, and I generally use individuals to tell a story. For instance, I'm talking about how cannabis may help a multiple sclerosis patient. I'll tell you who that patient was that I learned this from and what happened to her and et cetera, et cetera. And I've often felt that telling a story about real people, the good guys and the bad guys, by the way, this book has, I spend 360 pages. I got to put 10 or 15 pages in there about assholes. I did. I just could not write this book without saying these people were really shitheads, on this whole subject matter. So, he was one of the good guys. Now look at him. The people that I treat negatively with justice. I didn't make anything up in this book. They were just ideologues, and they wouldn't listen. They didn't want to learn. They knew everything. Narcissists up the butt, and they were in the way.
Like the Canadian cannabis industry.
I know. You gotta. If you read my book, Canada will figure out how to do this. I'm telling you, it's all you got to do. Read the book. But one thing I will say to Canada, if you read the book, a lot of things happen down in the United States and in the world about medical cannabis all in a short period of time. And that was driven by two things, education and registered nurses.
Yeah.
The entire country of the United States was told by their organization, the ANA, that every nurse in the United States must learn about the benefits of therapeutic cannabis.
Yeah.
Have to. If you want to be a nurse, you got to know this shit. And they did it twice. They've done it twice now in this country. Well, I'll tell you what. One thing a doctor doesn't want to have told to him is how to be treating somebody by a nurse. So those nurses tell their doctors, "No, you should be doing this." Well, the doctors go, "Well, maybe I should learn about this crap," But the nurses of the United States, and then the word, if you would, spread over to Europe, especially. The nurses changed this thing. Mm-hmm. So Canada needs to lean on their nurses. You mentioned a nurse practitioner. You need a leader to go to the Canadian nurses. You can borrow off the American Nurses Association. I'll tell you, they'll send somebody up there. I know they will if you just ask them. You ask them. Don't have to have the nurses ask you. Ask them if the American nurses will go up there. I bet they will. Because I learned about nurses. They give a shit about patients. That's what they care about. And they don't care about big pharma. They don't care about laws. They don't care about doctors. They care about that patient. And they want that patient to have the best. So that's Country and Cannabis. It kind of explains how U.S. nurses were so involved in what you see worldwide right now. I would recommend it to you.
Okay, that's great.
And I want to let our audience know that one of the reasons why we have rebooted the network is because we want to make time for hemp great again. Hello. It's important to do that. But we've also got a great archive of a lot of voices who are no longer here with us. But they came onto our programs shortly before passing away to give their message about how important medical cannabis was to their health. And they want to make certain that people have access to that information. So Al and I are doing what we can to bring new content to the network so that we'll drive new audience members to what we're doing and people will share us. And with that, we're able to hopefully educate people about medical cannabis and all the wonderful things that this plant does. Also, Al and I believe that it's important to keep control over the political population, and we do encourage you to have your local politicians spayed and neutered. And that way, we can maybe cut back on some of the problems that we're dealing with. And we do want you to go into our archives and find out all the information there. Share us with your friends and let everybody around you know just how important it is to take time for hemp.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they've spent. Take another look and take some time for him. Don't cut trees for paper, 'cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Well, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, it's time for hemp. Throughout Earth's history, hemp has been used, no mystery. Hemp was legal to pay your taxes for more than a century. Check your faxes. The founding fathers make sense to me. It's time to grow hemp legally. Think of all its uses. It's money that's well spent. Right now, no excuses. It's time for hemp. Sustainable green industry, that's our intent. A better place this world will be. It's time for hemp. Fuel and food and clothes and soap, housing, cars, yeah, cars, no joke. Henry Ford built a car of hemp. It's time for us to do it again. People be employed with balanced farming as it's meant. Right now, it's time for hemp. Hemp is a true necessity for the wealth and protection of this country. These are words of Jefferson Thomas. He grew hemp, why not us? It's time to lift the hemp ban. It's time to lift the hemp ban. Yes, we can. I know we can. We can make a difference. Yes, we can. Yes, I know we can. We can work together and lift the hemp ban. Look at all that money. Yeah, the money that they've spent. Take another look and take some time for you. Don't cut trees for paper, 'cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation. Yeah, it's time for hemp.
Time for Hemp is a Pace Radio Network content provider.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.